Hello, Silent Command family. My name is Miguel, and I welcome you to our very own new and improved Dr. Beat tutorial. The DB-90, aka the Dr. Beat, is a crucial tool to use in all marching band programs from high school to the drum corps level. So with that being said, let's get started. First, let's confirm that we have the right battery for this Dr. Beat. By removing the back cover, we see that the Dr. Beat takes a 9-volt battery. Now, I would be very careful in removing and placing one of these 9-volt batteries in. These wires can cut pretty easily or disconnect from the end entirely. I like to just hold the wire to one side like so and pull back while placing a little bit of pressure back on the battery. Now, once we have our battery in and our back cover on, we can go ahead and turn on the Dr. Beat. First, you'll familiarize yourself with these here sliders. They change the metronome's accent and subdivision. Maybe you want to hear accented quarter notes, or eighth notes, or 16th notes, or triplets. These sliders change the volume of each subdivision with a master volume slider here on the right side. With our rotary dial, we can also change what tempo our Dr. Beat plays at as well. Let's set our Dr. Beat how most groups do, with our accent and quarter note all the way up. Feel free to test the sound with the start-stop button. Now, our basic setup starts by changing the Dr. Beat's voice. Tap the voice button and you'll find that we have plenty of voices to choose from this kind of abrasive beat to our more traditional beat, this kind of weird beat, and even a voice count-in. Most marching bands use voice 2. Next, we'll move to the beat and pattern button. When you tap this button, you'll notice there are many different styles to choose from. This number in the corner changes the way the metronome accents certain beats. So for example, if you want to hear a 2-4 measure with an accented 1, unaccented 2, you would change it to 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. If you have something unique like 7/8, for example, and maybe you want to hear the accent on the 1 and the 4 of that bar, you would scroll all the way to 3 plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and play it as so. But for most of our metronome uses, we will just set it to 1. Now from here, you can tap beat and pattern again to change to the drum pattern. So while you heard the basic pattern has a simple metronome sound, the drum pattern has a drum set sound that has their own individual sliders. You can also change the style of the drum set. Just refer to the metronome pattern list here on the back of the Dr. Beat. Maybe we want to play my personal favorite, number 22, salsa. We would scroll all the way to 22. Doesn't sound like much now, but if you add some of the sliders, oh yeah, it's party time. You can exit the setting anytime by tapping the beat and pattern button. If you change the tempo at any point and the pattern button is no longer flashing, just press beat and pattern 2 times. And maybe put back the sliders. So with all these settings, you'll probably find yourself needing to save multiple presets or memories at a time. Let's learn how to program a memory. When you change a memory's settings from its original programming, you'll see this edit sign appear. This means the memory has temporarily changed and it's ready to be programmed. If I want a memory programmed to 100 beats per minute, I'll press tempo, scroll down to 100, and double tap right. This will save the memory for me to come back to later. I can do this for any memory just by tapping the memory button, rotating over 1, and double tapping right once I know which memory I'd like to reprogram. Now when I try to change anything like eighth note off, voice 2, beat and pattern 1, you'll see that edit sign come up again. So I can go ahead and let's say I want the tempo at 130. I can set it there, double tap right. And now if I press memory, I can go back and forth with my saved memories. Now, with a lot of marching band shows today having a lot of tempo changes, you'll need to know how to change tempos on the fly. While it is true you can switch memories back and forth manually, it's not very convenient and it's pretty likely to fail. Thankfully, the Dr. Beat does have a feature to do all these changes automatically. The loop feature attaches a designated number of counts to each memory you have programmed, allowing for a very simple automatic transition between memories. Say for my first memory here, I want to play the Dr. Beat at 100 BPM, which it's already programmed to, for 4 beats. I'm here in my first memory, so I'm going to press the loop button and see here we have the number of counts. I'm going to scroll over to 4. No need to use the right button here. This is automatically saved for you as a part of the memory. Now let's see how it sounds. So as you saw, after the 4 counts, the Dr. Beat moved forward to the next memory's program counts. Let's try a new scenario, this time with an accelerando. If you're like me and you don't want to do the math, I would recommend using the Tonal Energy app to program a retardando or accelerando for you. Check out Wes Booker's preset video, also on Silent Command, detailing how to do just that. In this score, made by our very own Chasen Young, we start at letter A with 8 bars of 12/8, followed by an accelerando for 11 beats, until our impact at letter B. We'll program our 130 like so, changing the tempo to 130, changing the counts to 32 because it's 8 bars of 12/8, and double tap right to secure that memory. Now, a helpful tip here, it can take a lot of time to go to a new memory, double tap right, do all the changes, especially when the memories are drastically different. As you continue on, these are already programmed. They have very, very different settings, but you can actually make it so you can copy and paste one memory settings to another memory. For the memory you want to copy, tap memory and then right, scroll to whichever memory you want to paste it to, press right again. And now this memory has the same settings as the previous one. You can do this for multiple memories, as many as you'd like. The only thing that does not save is the loop. So we have our 32 counts, and now we will accel to 150 BPM over 11 counts. Here, I would switch to tonal energy to check each number within that accel, like so. I would write these numbers down in some way so you can reprogram the Dr. Beat at any time. Here's a system I like to use where I note each memory's measure relative to the score, the number of counts programmed, and what tempo it's programmed at. Note also that I rounded my numbers up because the Dr. Beat can't program with decimals. I'll program each new tempo as 1 count and keep going until the end of the accel at letter B. And now let's hear how it sounds. And here it's gone to the next memory, which I've left blank in my sheet. It is important to note the Dr. Beat has a limit of 50 memories. So if your show exceeds that number for any reason, you may need to opt to either get an additional Dr. Beat or just program your show into tonal energy instead. Now, a less used but equally as important feature on the Dr. Beat is the pitch feature. By clicking either tune or pitch, you're brought to this screen, where you can change the pitch. The drone plays with the tune button, or change how it's tuned to with the pitch button. You can also add up to 10 memories here. To connect your Dr. Beat to a speaker, you'll likely need a 1/4-inch cable. You can connect the cable through this headphones jack here on the side and straight into your speaker from there. There are plenty of common issues people face when using the Dr. Beat, but they often have some pretty simple solutions. If you're not changing the Dr. Beat's battery often, you'll find that when the Dr. Beat dies and you put a new battery in, all your memories are lost. This is no mistake. The Dr. Beat erases all memories within 7 seconds of its death. But you can be proactive by switching the battery out before it dies. The Dr. Beat doesn't erase memories if you swap batteries that are still alive, so I'd recommend buying a 9-volt battery checker online to check your battery's health. They're usually pretty cheap and definitely necessary when you're not sure how long you need until you need to replace your battery. For some groups, you can last up to maybe a few weeks. If it's in the sun all the time, I've seen batteries drop in as little time as like 3 hours. If at any point you see this screen where you're very confused at what you're looking at, this is the coach or trig guide screen. It's kind of a personal training thing that we don't use in marching band. You can just press tempo and you'll go straight back to your normal menu. Are your memories not saving when you go back and forth? Double check that when you change a memory, you're double tapping right so you can get rid of that edit icon. Otherwise, you'll see it whenever it changes compared to the memory that it was programmed to. Is your Dr. Beat functioning but not making any noise? If it's not a speaker issue, it's possible that your Dr. Beat could actually be muted. You can just press this button here and it'll go back to normal. Some additional tips and tricks that I found pretty helpful. In the back, there's a kickstand here in case you ever need to prop it up. If it's dark where you're at and you need some extra light, you can tap the light button. It'll light up the screen here. This does last only a few seconds. You'll see it, change back to normal. If you need it for longer, you can turn off the Dr. Beat and then light and then power button. So holding down light and then power, and it'll stay on. As long as you see this light bulb, you know that the light will stay on. If maybe you need to check something with the Dr. Beat and you can't have it super loud for other people to hear, you can go to the side here and plug in your headphones and it'll connect straight there. I found this next tip especially useful when I'm copy and pasting memories repeatedly and I just want to go really, really fast. When I do this typical copy and paste thing, you'll see when I press right, it flashes for a little bit. You can actually skip that animation just by double tapping right, and boom, you're off to copy and paste the next memory without any delay. And that, my friends, is essentially all you need to know about the Dr. Beat to have a great rehearsal. My name is Miguel, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Bye-bye.